Good morning, afternoon, and evening from wherever you are, and welcome to NERDTUBE as we do our spoiler review of the Thunderbolts. I'm Brown Guardian with US Asshat. How you doing, Mr. Asshat?
I'm doing good. Just doing the US ass hat thing, being an asshole to everybody.
Wonderful, wonderful. The Avengers Assemble, yes.
No
We're doing
Avengers.
them,
No, it's B Vengers.
yeah, with a Z. But yeah, Be Avengers with a Z at the end as well. Yeah. Anyway, um, the film came out just the other day. Came out on the 1st of May. Myself and Cheeto have watched it. Cheeto is bursting at the seams to talk about this particular. I'm about to say episode, but this particular film. So burst away, Cheeto. What have you got to say?
Okay, so I want to preface this by I didn't think this was a bad movie. I thought it was well written, and I thought that the pacing was good. However, I hate it. I hate it when Marvel has this idea, and then like they have this great like plot, and they have this great idea, and they just fuck it all. Like fuck it all. Like they just okay. So first off, I don't know why US Agent. Don't get me wrong. I like these characters. I like John Walker. I like US Agent very clearly here. I am not mad that he is in this project, but it's why is he here? Like besides to be the asshole. Why is Ghost here? She's probably overqualified compared to everyone in this entire movie powers wise besides the Sentry. So like why okay, this should have been Black Widow 2. Call it Black Widow something reckoning. I don't know. So it's something, Century Protocol. It sounds like a Mission Impossible ripoff. But still. But you know what I mean? Like it sounds like this should have been Black Widow 2. Why was US Agent here? Why was Ghost here? Why would I would have made this story about I would make this story about Yelena, Bucky, and Red Guardian. I'm okay with Bucky being in it, although because I felt like this did enhance his character a little bit. But in my notes here, I've got a little bit more to talk about Bucky because I do have some frustrations with him. However, I think he did fit in this plot. He just didn't get enough to do because we were focused on US Agent Ghost. We're trying to give all of these other things. I also wanted to preface that I am not upset that the Taskmaster's dead. Fuck her. She was an awful Taskmaster. Okay, so yeah, like I don't know why Ghost and US Agent were in this. First off, they should have been Black Widow 2. You could have this movie was a little over 2 hours long. You could have taken US Agent and Ghost out of this movie, and I'm not saying discard them, but I'm just like they didn't add anything to this movie. You could have had a good solid hour and a half, hour and 45-minute movie, and you could still have the exact same shit go on. And I'm gonna bring that up here in a minute. Okay, so I really like the ending. It was really good. Again, however, why was Ghost there? Why was John Walker there? Just so John Walker can be like, fight it, Bobby, instead of Bob or some other condescending tone or whatever. Like oh my God. Like this really just, it's like they threw everything together and it was just like, why? So getting into the Bucky stuff really quick. They walked back Bucky's character here, and not necessarily in the beginning. I liked where they were going in the beginning, where he was a senator and he's struggling with being a politician rather than being like a superhero. But then at the end of the movie, they walk it all back because he's a part of the New Avengers, and I'll get into them in a second. Hold on, like the New Avengers, and I'm like, why? God damn it, this movie. So yeah, and that goes into the New Avengers thing. So the New Avengers are a joke. Like you have Red Guardian, who is what, like NASCAR man, who has like stuff all over his jacket that's like sponsorships. You've got Bucky, who looks way out of place. Yelena, who is just not. I don't know why she even wanted to do this whole thing. Ghost, who does not fit in as an Avenger. I'm sorry, she's a good like anti-hero type character, not a good Avenger. Who else was in there? Bob, who's just out lounging and doing dishes.
John Walker.
Yeah. Oh, and John Walker, which honestly, I feel like again, he does not fit as an Avenger. Like I know he was like Captain America in the comics and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He does not fit as an Avenger. So them calling this team the New Avengers could get taken out by like I don't know, like there's a multitude of villains that could have taken this Avengers team out without a problem. So, and I know there's supposed to be 2 Avengers teams and bullshit like that, but this, you're listen. Even if you did the whole movie and you get to the end and it's the New Avengers, fine, okay, I will, fine. But when you do the post-credit scene that they got into, you should have had like Abomination show up. You should like actual like powerhouses. Instead, it's just the same fucking characters from the movie that are underpowered, in my opinion. Yes, they have some superpowers, but Ghost is the only one there that actually has superpowers. Sentry's nerfed because of his mental health issues. But it's like, why? This is not an Avengers team. This is like a fan club. Like, oh, okay, I'm almost done, I promise, with my rant. Honestly, I honestly would have loved it if Kate Bishop showed up instead of like Ghost and with John Walker. Bring Kate Bishop in. She did have some interactions with the Yelena Belova in the Hawkeye series. She's someone that would have fit in kind of in this team and just brought her in like along the way. You know what I mean? Like she's one that kind of runs into Yelena or whatever. And that's kind of it of my like frantic manic like rant. So fuck you, Thunderbolts. Fuck you, New Avengers. Solid B+ movie though, because the actual like plot and like I would have loved it. Like where did you need Ghost and John Walker at that end? Like the end was all like you know, like psychological. It wasn't even like, oh, we need everybody's superpowers to beat this thing. No, I actually liked the way the movie ended. I just don't understand why they threw all of these people together to make this Thunderbolts, aka New Avengers team. I don't understand it. I don't. They were this close to having a fantastic movie, and they just kind of like cluttered it with bullshit. All right, I'm done.
Okay, look, you make some valid points. I have I agree with some of them, and I have a different opinion. I don't want to say necessarily disagree with others because you made some valid points. I do have differing opinions, regardless. Like I'm a big fan of fucking John Walker. You know,
I am too. I love him,
and I'm very happy to see him personally. I do feel that between this and the Falcon and Winter Soldier, we should have seen him in something else. In between those two projects, the fact that we have I'm working there, because we haven't that kind of upsets me. But I'm a big fan of following antagonists, shades of grey characters. Not necessarily unnecessarily redemption arcs, but like sometimes the good guy are whiter than white, cleaner than clean, and and someone like John Walker is an asshole, but we have seen in this film and in Falcon and Winter Soldier that he has done very heroic things, put his life on the line, to save people. And I like that about this character. I like a character who's not necessarily a full-on good guy, but when it comes to having to do the job of a hero, he's willing to do it, and that's what makes him such a great character for me in films like this. Hero shouldn't necessarily always be 100% totally good guy, and I like that about him. And same with some of the other characters who want to redeem themselves and become better people. Like Ghost, who unfortunately for me was not given much to do in this film. Yelena Belova, she was pretty much the star of this movie. It was her film. I'm glad in a way it wasn't necessarily a Black Widow 2, because I don't want that. We've had the Black Widow movie, and I don't want to go back to a Black Widow movie. Derpy Entertainment, by the way, said earlier, said it was good, but Marvel fans be glazing too much comparing it to Endgame, and I totally agree, because there was 2 movies after Endgame which were far better than this film, and they were the Spider-Man sequels. And and people have already forgotten them, thinking that that they're not part of this post Endgame movie lineup. but yes, they are. I mean, Spider-Man: Far From Home was the end of Phase 3, and we're now reached the end of Phase 4. With this particular phase, but within that phase, we did have Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is probably the best film of that entire phase. Daniel Vance says there were several instances, Easter eggs in this movie that make me think they're setting up a. Oh, mate, don't even bother, don't even go there, man. That's just wishful thinking.
Unless Disney buys Warner Brothers, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I think we'll see 40 before. Yeah, look. Personally, I'm going to find. I have a feeling some people are going to be killed off. Please don't kill off John Walker, please, because he is, in my opinion, now my favorite Marvel character. You know, I like a douchey Captain America. That really works for me. I love it. And,
I mean, he's not my favorite, but out of like a lot of the more recent characters they've introduced, he is one of my favorites. Like really, like truly, I loved him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. His story arc was compelling in there. His story arc is actually a bit compelling in this one. They just don't give it enough time. That's why I'm like, why is he here?
Too many characters. I mean, that's another thing. And also the problem also with Falcon and Winter Soldier is that he went through a phase of depression and anger after Lamar died. You know, and that, and then you remind you, because obviously he's kind of got over that now and he's moved on from that. It reminds you of who he was again with this film, because he was basically still the same character he was at the beginning of Falcon Winter Soldier, where he's trying to get along, but he's a bit up his own ass a little bit, you know, varsity athlete and all that sort of shit. You know what I mean? You know, the quarterback for the football team probably and all of that. You know, he was a very athletic guy too. And so prior to getting the serum and all of that. So there's a lot of elements of him where he just thinks he's the fucking best, when the reality is he isn't. And you saw it with him and his relationship with his wife and all of that breaking up. I'm going on a bit too much about Walker. I'm glazing a bit too much about him.
No, you go ahead. I took up the first like 7 to 8 minutes of just my rant, so you just go for it.
Grant the Heroes, so no CGI budget needed.
No, they need CGI. They always do CGI, even on like Grounded
Heroes. They'll CGI, and there was, and there was CGI in this as well.
And they basically CGI Taskmaster into this movie. I mean, you know, like
I'm very happy that they killed her off. By the way, I like the way that all 4 of those characters were there to kill off each other, and you could tell that Taskmaster's task, pun intended, was to kill off Captain America, US Agent, because Taskmaster had a shield. You know, so.
And don't get me wrong, that fight scene was very good. Like, I liked that fatal 4-way fight scene. Like, it was good. Again, my issue is not the movie itself. Like, as I said, I enjoyed it. It was a solid B+ movie for me. Like, maybe even just a B. But like, I just have this issue with like the intricacies. Go ahead.
I do have issues with this film. I just want to quickly say that I like the way that Ghost was the person who was tasked with killing off Taskmaster, because even the Taskmaster is able to copy everyone's power abilities. Taskmaster can't copy people's powers, and so Taskmaster is stuck in a rut when it comes to Ghost, because Taskmaster can't copy Ghost when it comes to the power department, which is why Ghost was able to kill Taskmaster. Regarding the film itself, I have to say, I thought the ending was quite anticlimactic for me. I'm not necessarily. I'm not necessarily saying that they need to go for the big, massive battle scene at the end and stuff like that, but it just felt like, okay, we need to save Bob, you know, from being the Void after he was Sentry and stuff like that, and we went into his head. It felt very fucking Stranger Things like and all of that shit, and trying to rescue him from himself and all of that, and I don't know, like a film like this, you know, with all these fucking misfits and stuff like that, it's a brave choice to go this way. And I understand that this direction did work for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me. I found
I like the way they did as I said, I like the way that they did that internal struggle, and they kind of brought it down a little bit, like and I was afraid that it was going to be like when they started shadowing over all of New York. I'm like, oh, here we go. Instead of a sky beam, now we got a sky bob. You know, like
hello, boss man. I just felt like this became then more the Yelena show after that, and it became more about her and less about the team being a team. And they all came at the end, and fucking did Bucky like it was probably one of the worst. I arguably one of the worst sort of like backstories when it comes to his history, and he just seems to pop up. And my God, it would have been great to see him having to tackle his demons. You know what I mean?
Can I jump in really quick? So, but that's one of my points about this is like, if we had more time, with, you know, if we didn't have John Walker and we didn't have Ghost and we didn't have any of that stuff, like we could see, like in that void, we could see Bucky's stuff, we could see Red Guardian stuff and Yelena's stuff, because there's only the three of them. But no, because there's a team there, there's just too many people to share the wealth. And
Yeah,
I'm okay with this being the Yelena movie. That's why I wanted it to be Black Widow 2. If you're gonna go in like this, then make it about that. If you want to do an ensemble Thunderbolts movie, make it about that. But that's that the messaging. This is like Captain America Civil War done worse, because Captain America Civil War was definitely Captain America 3, but it was also like Avengers 2.5. But they did a good job at implementing everybody. And this one, we're supposed to believe that all the characters matter in this. Like we knew in Civil War, all the characters didn't matter. Some of them were just showing up to fight and do here and there stuff. In this one, they wanted us to believe that everybody mattered in this. And in the end, only like 2 or 3 people actually mattered to this story. That's my problem with the way that this was built.
Yeah, I agree. But I just felt that once Bob, the situation with Bob was resolved and everyone came back again, and I knew everyone was going to come back again. At first, I thought people were genuinely dead, and it kind of reminded me of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise when people were disappearing. But once the little girl got disappeared after Red Guardian saved her, I thought, yeah, this is going to get reversed. You know what I mean?
Well, and I knew they were going to Phantom Menace it, but like the other thing I thought was hilarious is I was watching one reviewer, I don't remember who it was, but he basically was saying, okay, so we're sending all of New Yorkers into like this void where they fight their past trauma. He's like, how is this a bad thing? Like New Yorkers need to face their trauma. I was like, I'm like, that's actually really funny and true.
And there's a couple of things I want to get to after this. Now, when it ended, and by the way, Val is far worse than Thunderbolt Ross as a personality. You know, Thunderbolt Ross, I've always thought was more. I mean, I get it. He's portrayed in one particular way in the comics, but the way he's portrayed in the MCU, he just seems to be somebody who wants to do the right thing for the world and America and society generally. But he just doesn't always go the right direction. And he obviously gave up the presidency and all of that after being the Red Hulk and all of that. So he has some sense of responsibility. Val doesn't give a fuck. She's power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And she's willing to do whatever it takes, in my opinion. She's a lot worse. And
no, I 100% agree.
And she's willing to kill off her loose ends and stuff like that. And that moment when you thought, okay, finally she's going to get her comeuppance, but then she walks through that bit of debris and tarp, and then the other side comes out, and there she's like bringing everyone in as the new Avengers. I thought that was hilarious, but then boom, it ends. It fucking ends. Like that's it. And like you know, like we just had that moment with in the void, and then this moment, and it's done. Like no epilogue of any sort. It's over. And I didn't like that at all. I thought that was a
no, and here's my little nitpick about that part though, like you're saying. So basically the end of the movie is everybody comes back, right? Like everybody's coming out of the void.
It's
like at that very moment. And then Val's
Yeah.
over there. Like, I don't think much time passes between when they're standing there and Val is sitting there on the phone saying, I need extraction, blah, 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 blah. Where did all those camera crews and stuff come from? You figure they would probably come out of the void being like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I could see if like all of that camera crew was like, oh, look, it's the new Avenger. And like, then they kind of like focus up, but like they walked through and they were ready for them. And I'm like, didn't they just all come out of the void? Like, why, you know, how, wow, they're all there and organized and ready to go, but they all just dealt with past trauma in the void if they were right there the whole time. I feel like that was a part of a reshoot, honest and truly.
I got my second gripe I want to bring up in a sec, but
go ahead.
Marvel's better when they didn't rely on CGI. A mix between CGI and practical always looks better to the eye. That was the golden era, you know, of special effects when they mixed it. Mm-hmm. You know, now, you know, but I'm really worried that level of filmmaking might go out of the window because it's just so easy just to do everything on. When I say so easy, like the physical element of creating models and stuff like that, they don't have to do anymore. They can just go on a computer, and that really worries me because I prefer a mix of the CGI and practical. Thunderbolts seems like Suicide. Yeah, I mean, come on, everyone's been saying that, dude.
Honestly,
Unleash
I don't feel like it's Suicide Squad light. Taskmaster was the only one that felt expendable. I would have given them massive props if they would have killed Red Guardian, if they would have killed like Ghost, if they would have killed even, not that I want it, but even if they would have killed US Walker. You know, like I would have given them props and been like, okay, not even props. I would have said, okay, Suicide Squad, like one person died. One person died. That's not Suicide Squad.
Unleash Hell Cheetah, he's already gone to the toilet, dude.
Oh man, no, like yeah, if you want to catch the first 8 minutes after we're done here.
Yeah, exactly. Now my second gripe is that this is done in New York. So if you've been watching Daredevil recently, you will know that New York is under the control of Wilson Fisk, who has put an 8 o'clock curfew and all of that. And I didn't feel any of those elements play a part whatsoever.
It was in the middle of the day.
No, yeah, during the day, but like there is a ban on like superheroes and stuff like that, and vigilantes and whatever, and somehow Bucky's now a congressman, and he's not bringing up any of the shit that fucking Wilson Fisk is doing. You know,
he's a congressman in Jersey, so I want to know, like, I would have been fantastic if like we had like a cameo of Fisk at like either a court hearing or like a court, like Fisk should have, I agree with you, Fisk should have made an appearance even at the end of the movie, like when like, you know, everything was kind of coming back to normal, or at least it cut to his office where everything's like, you know, going to the void, where he's sitting in his office looking around, and then all of a sudden he gets ghosted, I guess, or what, avoided, whatever you want to call it. There was a perfect opportunity for a cameo there for crossover, and they just didn't do it.
And I want to know if this moment will play a part in season 2 of Daredevil. You know, will they bring this up? You know, will they talk about this? You know, because this was fucking significant. Because once again,
it was also only 15 minutes.
It seems like
I agree.
New York gets fucked over the most. You know, in Marvel, like everything happens in New York, and this was very. I mean, the blip happened all over the universe, as well as New York, but this was significantly New York, and it was just as terrifying, and probably, you know, made people's PTSD reoccur, and all the bad moments that happened to them, and people, you know, watching their loved ones disappear again and shit like that. This takes place in 2025. The movie's set in. Well, no,
I want a reference for that. Like, I mean, I'm legit, because Marvel's very good about being very fast and loose with their dates and their years. Like they try not to put a timestamp on anything. So if you have reference to that, like even if someone said like, oh, the blip was 3 years ago, the blip was, you know, 5 years ago. Like, if you have any reference, I would love to hear it, because they are very good about keeping that fast and loose.
And not just that, but the ending of the post-credit scene was 14 months later, so that could be 2027. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That could end, you know, you could
because I think because I think next year is when Doomsday comes out. So actually, if it did take place in 2025, then this would be 2026 is when the end of this movie, like the end of the post-credit scene takes place. So it sounds like they're trying to line it up with the current timeline at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jelly Bean?
Okay, so I'll give him my gripes and stuff like that. Like I said, I thought it was a little bit anticlimactic, but I'm a big fan of these sort of Dirty Dozen, ragtag, you know, the worst of the worst, you know, not necessarily the best, you know, antagonists, bad guys trying to redeem themselves into the good guys. Or I'm a big fan of all of that, you know, or not necessarily redeem themselves, but if they don't do a job for the government, they'll die, you know, or some shit like that. A bit like Snake Plissken had to, you know, like in Escape from New York, having to do a job for the sake of staying alive. So I'm a big fan of that particular genre. Sorry, what's up?
No, I was going to comment on Daniel Vance's comment there. So
go for it.
Okay, so you say because the events of Falcon, or the events of Brave New World, happen in 2025 because it is just after the U.S. election, which took place in November of 24, and I think it's only a couple months, obviously, after Ross takes office, and that, you know, and he's only in office for a couple months, I believe. right? Like, I think he was. I don't think
can't
they really
remember.
talk about how much time goes by since he was elected, but it's not a ton of time. So I really feel like that this movie kind of, and also Daredevil, kind of take place right around the same time. I could be wrong. As I said, there's no timestamps to prove it that I know of, but to each their own. Like whatever your
So
headcanon tells you, it's fine with me.
let's talk about Bob Reynolds, or AKA the Sentry, played by Lewis Pullman, who is the son of the greatest American president of all time, Bill Pullman from Independence Day. That speech, I fucking love that speech. It's like it still gives me chills, man. That speech. Regardless, he plays Bob Reynolds, who is being experimented on. And I just want to give you a fun fact regarding the Sentry. The Sentry was created in the year 2000 by Marvel Comics, and he was basically Marvel's answer to Superman. But they didn't want him to be Superman in personality, just in maybe like a power level. But on top of that, he had to obviously deal with other types of superheroes with very unique powers, which is why he's got things like telekinesis as well. And I think he might be telepathic too. But at the same time, they didn't want to make him this personality of Superman, which is why they made him a fucking junkie instead, which is like the total polar opposite as well. So and the Void is also something to do with him and his alter ego, and maybe some people say he's an element, like he's from like from the ancient period of Earth, where he's some sort of spiritual demon that latches itself onto Sentry because he's so powerful and all of that. So but that's just that. That's not necessarily to do with the MCU. But regardless, what did you think of Sentry?
I thought he was all right. I mean, I as I said, I thought he was a poor pick for this movie until we got into the movie. And honestly, I really got frustrated at the fight at the Watchtower, Avengers Tower, whatever. Again, just because it was like, so you're just throwing like, I liked the Bucky parts, I liked the Yelena parts, even the Red Guardian parts were actually pretty good, but like Ghost and John Walker is just, again, like every scene that they are in, it's almost just like, why are they here besides to be here? I thought the fight was really cool. I thought they did a really good job at displaying his power, especially with the who had the knife? Somebody was it John Walker who was trying to get him with the knife, or was that
Walker tried to get him with a knife, and then at one point Bucky tried to.
Yeah, and I mean, just like
and he was stabbing him, and he was just like it was like trying to stab bricks. The knife was breaking, like.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
I really liked that display of power. You know, yeah. I mean, I didn't, again, with some of the combat scenes, I didn't have too much of a problem with it, but I still feel like that scene could have gone off without a hitch with just Red Guardian, Black Widow, and Bucky.
He's able to fly because of telekinesis. That's how he's able to fly. So he just basically lifts his own body up off the ground, and stuff like that. And yeah, I did enjoy that scene. I would like to have been a bit longer, but and by the way, just quick comment here from Boss Man. Is JT worth watching? What's JT?
I think he's saying, is it worth watching? He doesn't
And what
spell
is
check
it?
worth a shit. Is it? Yes, of course it's worth watching. It's a big
It's
MCU
Marvel.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I preface again, like I said, I give this movie like a solid B. Like it's well written, well paced. I actually feel like it's a really good movie. I just feel like they made some. I hate it when Marvel gets this close to making something incredible and then they just shit the bed. You know what I mean? Like they were this close and they just couldn't pull it off. They just had to do the stupid shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to watch it for the sake of being up to date. If you've invested in every Marvel project so far, then it doesn't matter if this is the shittest one. This doesn't matter if this is fucking Eternals 2. You have to fucking watch it. You know what I mean?
This is true.
I've only watched the Eternals once, but at least I fucking watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And this is a 36 Marvel movie on top of that. I like the Sentry. I like what they did with this character Bob and stuff like that. It's unfortunate that he was kind of. This is the problem with trailers, and I avoided a lot of them. But speculation as well also pisses you off too, because people talk about shit. And even though I avoided most of the trailers, I still found I knew he was going to be Sentry. The Void, that was something I only, because I avoided most of the trailers, I didn't know about the Void until I watched the film, which was good for me, and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, and anyone who knows the Sentry from the comics, which I know you probably don't, but like
I don't.
the Void is kind of just a thing in the like, as I said, it's kind of one of those contrived like,
I learned about
we got to
that.
give our Superman a weakness. It's basically kryptonite for Sentry. Is like, if he loses control, then he becomes the Void, and that's kind of the kryptonite of this Sentry.
Oh, I did learn about that before coming on this. I did try to find out. They mentioned about how he was created in 2000, and so in the year 2000. So it's a relatively new Marvel character compared to some of the others. But yeah, he's somebody who, in my opinion, I would love to see him go up against Doom and just instantly get fucked. Doom just fucks him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's supposed.
I think his role in Doomsday is going to be Doom. Basically, like the way they're going to show Doom is like super powerful. Is Doom is going to fuck Sentry over. That's why we've got like this movie kind of showcasing his power. We're going to go into the next movie, and it's just Doom's going to wreck him, whether it's mentally or physically, or metaphysically.
So I'd like to see that. So Daniel Vaughn says at the end with Yelena and Bob talking into in the void reminded me of Ready Player One with Wade talking to Halliday. I vaguely remember Ready Player One because it became such the film itself upset me for quite, it just, I really was hoping it would be a really good Steven Spielberg, back with a banger, but ended up being a big pile of shit, unfortunately. Ready Player One had a moment where for decades people couldn't figure out how to win this race, and the answer to winning that race was to go backwards. Trust me, within 5 minutes in the real world, somebody would have figured that fucking shit out, because that's how it is. The fact that nobody after years in that race couldn't figure out that you had to go backwards in order to win it is ridiculous. But yeah, there you go. Imagine Marvel releasing Doomsday with no teasers, just a title card, no trailer spoilers. Would that be? Yeah, it would be awesome for me because
I mean that's what they did for Endgame. Like, let's be real, the trailers for Endgame did not give away anything. So I mean, they might go that route this time because they know people are going to show up to watch it. They don't need to sell an Avengers movie. They just, and I liked that they did that with Endgame, that they really just did like just kind of like the bare minimum trailer for Endgame, and then I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they really kept it close to chest.
They spoiled it quite a lot by in telling us that Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Doom. I mean, my God, if we found that out by watching the movie, that would have been the shit. But I'll tell you a film that is phenomenally good that gave nothing away in the trailers, not a fucking tidbit, and that was Jurassic Park. The trailers for that film didn't make that film look so great, but when you watch the movie itself, you think, wow, this is the fucking bollocks. If more fucking movies did trailers like Jurassic Park trailer, where they don't give away all the best scenes, then people will go into movies enjoying them a lot more, in my personal opinion. So yeah. So that's we had all these characters. Red Guardian was good. I liked his relationship with Yelena. They're genuinely not a father and daughter, by blood, but he wants to be her the dad. Yelena wants him to be her dad, and I like that about them. I hope that comes to fruition. Will we ever see their mum, played by Rachel Weisz? I don't know, but that would be cool if we do.
I think it was Emergency Awesome who said that David Harbour behind the scenes was campaigning for the mom to come back in this movie, and they couldn't fit her in. But like, he apparently, David Harbour is like, yeah, I really think we need to revisit again. You could have done that if this was more of a Black Widow sequel rather than the whatever the fucker bolts. That is what these guys are.
They needed to also at the same time mix it up a little bit, because you had 4 super soldiers, and all of them were also assassins. All of them. You know what I mean? So 4 super soldiers, 6 assassins. It's, and one of them dies off. It's just like, come on, they're all samey. Abomination needed to be part of that group. in my opinion.
As I said, even if at the end at that end tag where you have your new Avengers and you had Abomination there, like I agree, like, but like if you're gonna call it the new Avengers, you got to have something more than just, again, super soldiers and Ghost, who is the only one who has legitimate powers that are available to her at that moment. As I said, yeah, super soldiers and assassins and Ghost. Like,
I
it's
would
not
like
an
to see.
Avengers team.
I would like to see the Thunderbolts mix up, every few years if they do another Thunderbolts movie. It doesn't have to be the same group. It could be a bunch of other villains and anti-heroes coming together. Like, I would love to see Bullseye. I know he's an assassin, but still, he's different. I would love to see him as a Thunderbolt, which he has been, you know. And then I don't
That's
know.
another person you could have added in there as a Easter egg at the end. Like, he could have been in the Dark Avengers storyline. He was the new Hawkeye, so you could have had Bullseye like in the Avengers Tower, playing as the new Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you had an opportunity here to like do at least in the post credit scene, you had an opportunity to do, like, as I said, the Abomination, Bullseye, like some of these other characters that you have at your disposal. I don't know about the Punisher. Like, as an Avenger, no, I don't. I don't even think
as a Thunderbolt.
Not in this. I would say not in this version of the Thunderbolts. Maybe in like Thunderbolts Red, like, but I doubt it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Have Deadpool show up. Shit, just make Deadpool show up. Why not?
I'm sure there's an X-Men or two or a mutant that could fit in there once they start to become more established as well. But yeah, it's really hard to think of some of the characters right now, because the problem with Marvel is that they kill a lot of their bad guys off. Baron Zemo would be great.
Well, yeah. If you're talking about future movies, then yeah, Baron Zemo, Abomination. Like, I would love a Thunderbolts Red like line where it's Red Hulk, Punisher, either Agent Venom or Ghost Rider, Deadpool, Elektra. Like, that was a whole team in the comic books. I wouldn't mind if you swapped out like Deadpool for like Daredevil or somebody else like that. Like, because Daredevil would kind of be like the
well, the Vulture's still alive. They can
but he's in another universe now. Like, remember wasn't that one of the post credit scenes where he like moved at the end of No Way Home or something?
He's still part. I mean, I do remember Tony Stark was there and stuff like that. But
no, I meant like at the end of like one of the Sony movies, he like jumped.
Yeah, but that's because Sony owns the right to him, and they tried to make it seem that what the fuck is his name? The Dracula, the vampire character.
Oh,
Morbius. Yeah, they tried to make it look like Morbius was in the MCU by showing Vulture in that scene. But they own the rights to Vulture because they own the rights to all of the characters who are heavily associated with Spider-Man. So when they bought the rights to Spider-Man, they didn't just get Spider-Man; they got all the side characters and villains as well. So
I swear that there was a post-credit scene where Vulture, like, the room kind of flashed, like, whatever, and like, and then he was apparently in a different universe. I swear there was a post-credit scene.
No, that was Venom.
Was that Venom?
That was Venom, and then he came back again.
No. I'm talking about Vulture too. I swear to God, there was a. I'll find it. There's a. Oh yeah, Moon Knight's another one you could put like in that team. Thunderbolts Red.
Moon Knight, the Mary Sue they shoved in MK should have been in Thunderbolt. MK or Mortal Kombat? What abbreviation is MK? Moon Knight. Oh, in Moon Knight. Sorry, MK means Moon Knight.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out where he's going.
You're talking about that Mary Sue? The Egyptian, the woman that like his Moon Knight's girlfriend, who ended up getting like pharaoh power and shit like that. Moon Knight is too important a character come Doomsday. He has a role already if you read the comic. Plus, he's his alter ego, the third character, which came to relevance at the end of the series. Okay. That needs to be resolved as well, if they ever resolve that, because there's so much stuff now that the MCU have done so much shit that it's very hard to keep on track.
I
with
don't
everything.
think I keep on hearing they're not doing a Moon Knight season 2 at this point. So I hope we see Oscar Isaac's Mark Spector again. What I want to see is I want to see Moon Knight come face to face with Ibn Sur, the Apocalypse. I want to see that happen.
Yeah, that would make
Because
happy.
both were played by Oscar Isaac, so it's like they could do it.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to the post-credit scene. This is what people are banking for, and I'm very happy that this is the scene they keep at the end, because you know what pisses me off about Marvel recently is that they give you the good scene in the middle, and then you sit at the very end, and then and next thing you know, you're watching an ant fucking playing the drums. You're telling me you made me watch the whole fucking credits to watch a fucking ant play the fucking drums? Are you shitting me? So no, you give me the good one at the very end, yeah, and you give me the shit one in the middle, okay? And I'm very happy they did that with Red Guardian fucking, being a guy who's on cereal boxes. Yay, very happy for him. His life is complete. And then we get the good one at the end now with these ragtag Avengers 14 months later. And then, so something's happening in space and they check it out on their screen and it's a rocket ship. And then the rocket ship tilts a little bit and then boom, there's a big fat 4 on it. Big Fat 4 coming out in Phase 5. Well done, Marvel. The Fantastic Four, they're on their way. So it looks like we've already got the ending for Fantastic Four, the movie, when it comes out later this year. That they probably lose, and they leave, and they probably tell Earth, "Oh yeah, see you guys. Fuck you. We're getting the fuck out of here, and you ain't coming with us." And
I mean, that's I imagine that scene that we saw at the end of Thunderbolts is going to be played in the beginning of Avengers Doomsday to a point. Like I think what's going to happen is they're going to play that scene from several different angles, and we will see the Thunderbolts again in that scene. But like, I think they're going to have all eyes in that movie are going to be on that rocket coming out. So we'll see the Thunderbolts again looking at it, but then we'll also see Sam Wilson's Avengers looking at it. We'll probably also see some other, I don't know who else is out there, like the government watching that rocket coming through. I'm sure Samuel L. Jackson will show up with 2 eye patches on or something. I don't know. I mean,
okay. Well, for a start, by the way, I expect the Mansing movie rather than the new Moon Knight movie.
Sure.
Fair enough. And the Big Fat 4, the real American team. Yeah, you're telling me. I've heard that Samuel L. Jackson is contractually obliged to be in every Avengers film that they make. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, because obviously the last time we saw with him was it Secret Invasion or Secret Wars or what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And don't forget, what's her face? She's got all those amazing powers as well. She can turn her body into Drax and the girl from Game of Thrones.
Emily, what was her name?
I forgot.
Emily, I don't know the act. I don't even know what her name was. Yeah, Game of Thrones.
I know, Daniel. Yeah, the Game of Thrones chick. Remember, she's got fucking amazing powers as well. So why the fuck isn't she part of the team? Don't get me wrong, they fucked up royally with that, and I think they're hoping that we'll forget that even exists. But Nick Fury not existing? No, I want to know what the fuck's happened to Nick Fury. So he needs to come back for Avengers.
Well, I mean, he did. He came back. Technically, the Marvels takes place after Secret Invasion. Like that, the movie came out.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot he was in the Marvels. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But it was like 2 totally different Nick Furies. Like if you watch Secret Invasion, then you watch the Marvels, it's like 2 totally different Nick Furies. Like that's back when Marvel was not communicating at all.
You want a white Nick Fury, Sam Jackson? No, you didn't. Sam Jackson was great.
No, I disagree with you. I would not mind if there was listen, bring David Hasselhoff in.
Bring Hasselhoff. Please bring Hasselhoff. Alternative universe.
Yeah, from an alternative universe, definitely. But no, Samuel L. Jackson's fine.
Yeah, I want that. I want that quite badly too. I would love to see a David Hasselhoff, Fury. So
Dolph Lundgren's Punisher.
If he can pull off. No, what about Thomas Jane?
I mean, if you can get Thomas Jane in there, that would be fantastic. But I mean, you don't want it to be riddled with. Listen, there needs to be the Punisher Patrol or something like that, where it's like Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane, and the current one. Why am I forgetting his name? But
is it John Berthenthal?
John Brenthal, yeah.
Berthenthal, yeah.
So have them like the Punisher Patrol and like Secret Invasion or Secret Wars.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind any of that. I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see how they pull off this movie because it is ram-packed with a lot of new people, and some of them are coming back. Like I heard Jeremy Renner's going to be back, regardless of him telling Marvel to fuck off regarding Hawkeye 2, which I agree with him. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But he will be apparently in Doomsday, which would be interesting.
I mean, yeah, they're probably actually paying him because of that's Avengers money right there.
And I heard Captain Marvel's going to be in it as well. I heard.
Well, yeah, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch was not on that chair list. Neither was Brie Larson. God. Neither was Samuel L. Jackson. I'm sure all of them will be back in some capacity.
Yeah, we can't say Ray Stevenson, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
I still have to see that one. I still have to see that version.
Oh, you haven't seen Punisher Warzone?
No, is it good?
Okay, so it suffers from pre-MCU, even though it came out like after Iron Man. It still kind of suffers from some of the same pre-MCU tropes, but it's better than the Thomas Jane one. I like Thomas Jane as Punisher, but I think Warzone was more of an accurate depiction of the Punisher than what the Thomas Jane one was.
It's just nice to see maybe watching something where Ray Stevenson's the lead, playing the lead for once, because he's always playing a supporting role. Vincent D'Onofrio 4 from I mean, my God, that is such a long time ago now, and I do recall him playing 4 in that. My God, that is such a long time ago. Adventures in Babysitting as well. My God.
Yeah, I mean that would they're in Secret Wars, the comic book, there was the Thor Corps, so there is a possibility that we will see Vincent D'Onofrio's version of Thor, because I'm sure they will try to jam pack if they have the Thor Corps, they will jam pack that thing with cameos.
And yeah, remember, like he wears a fat suit as Wilson Fisk at the moment, so he's not as big as they make him out to be on the show. So. Yeah, that would be interesting if they could pull that off. I doubt it. I very much doubt it, because honestly, until you mentioned that, I totally forgot he actually played Thor in Adventures in Babysitting, and that film is like an 80s movie as well. I think that will go over. I think that Easter egg will go over so many people's heads, even people who are of a similar age to myself. So yeah, there you go. For Frog Thor or nothing. Of course.
You already had a cameo of Frog Thor and Loki.
I want Frog Thor, and I don't want Kermit the Frog, but I want the guy who voices Kermit the Frog to do the voice for Frog Thor. That would be brilliant.
No, they'll have Hemsworth do it, but that would be fun if they did Kermit the Frog. But
get Jordan Peterson. He can do a good Kermit the Frog, but he sounds like him naturally. Anyway,
MacFarlane can do a pretty good Kermit, I think, too, right?
Yeah. I'll take the piss out of Jordan Peterson. He's a wank stain. But regardless, I wouldn't be surprised what Seth MacFarlane does. He can do everything. Ginger Greek loves him, by the way. All right, so I think we kind of talked about the film as much as we could regarding what's coming up next and how we feel about it. I myself, I liked it. I wanted to love it. I think the hype of it made me really think I was going to watch something amazing, and I didn't end up feeling that way once it was over. I felt it just ended all of a sudden. It felt a bit premature, a bit anticlimactic for me personally. So I am actually going to give this, unfortunately, a 6 out of 10. What about you, US Ass Hat?
I'm going to give this a 7. Again, I felt like they had a solid 8 or 9 here if they would have focused in and made it something different than just an ensemble, an attempt at an ensemble. Hi, Josh Pharma. Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Although we are just wrapping up, thanks for being here.
Yeah, we have watched the Thunderbolts. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I just, as I mentioned earlier, I thought it was a bit. I didn't think it ended the way, in a way that I personally appreciated. A lot of other people appreciated the ending. I didn't.
I like the ending. As I said, there's systemic problems with with the roster.
It's just like I was watching Angry Joe's version of review of this, and his mate Alex said it best. We're gonna win with the power of friendship, and no, that didn't work for me. Not with a fucking rag.
I get what you're saying there, but like it was different though. Like it what did you want them to do? Fight Sentry? Like they did, and they lost.
I don't have the answer because I want them to give me an answer. Give me something that satisfies me.
They did.
And
it wasn't the power of friendship per se. It was more of like the power of overcoming your mental health. And again, it's not a very climactic ending, but I appreciated it for what it was.
Like I said, the ending didn't work for me because it just, as soon as they resolved what they did with Bob, a little bit after that, they're out of the void, chasing after fucking Val, and then she calls them the New Avengers, and then it ends instantly. Like, whoa, like this is just wrapped up in a way that I don't appreciate. I'm not liking this. There's like not even an epilogue. There's something like this deserved an epilogue of some sort, and we never got that. And
the post-credit scene was kind of an epilogue.
Not. It was like 14 months later, dude.
I know.
So yeah, that's why I get. What did you give it again?
7.
7 out of 10.
I think it could have been an 8 or easily an 8 or 9 out of 10 if they just did some of the some of the stuff that I complained about in the beginning.
I am happy like Bucky Barnes didn't resort to being the Winter Soldier again. I mean, he's obviously capable of taking care of himself, but I was very worried that he had somehow gone back into his shell because we saw him at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he truly started being his old self, his old Bucky Barnes self a little bit more, which I really like because as far as I'm concerned, that persona he once had, he's moving away from that. He's trying to be a congressman, and like even the way when he was
that's
in
why
Congress,
I didn't like him being a part of the New Avengers. I felt like that was a complete like character assassination of what he'd become. I'm like, why is he back in the event? Like, I thought he was trying to move away from that kind of stuff.
Well, Avengers means that he's a hero, and I think maybe that's why he's.
Yeah, but he's like wearing the suit again, and I'm like, no, like the like Avengers outfit, and I think it's
he never truly had like a proper outfit. I thought we should have got a better roster. I agree. I think having everyone being an assassin, all of them were assassins, and 4 of them were super soldiers.
3
4
of them?
No, 4, including Taskmaster.
She wasn't a super soldier.
No,
she wasn't an actual super soldier.
Because
she just was able to. And it wasn't even a mutant power like in the comics. It was just she's very good at mimicking people's abilities. That's it. Like it's how she was trained or something. I don't know, some bullshit. That's why I'm glad she's dead.
All right, 3 of them were super soldiers, which is a bit much, So yeah, you had that, and then all of them being assassins.
And one Superman.
Like Ghost was like the only old one which was a bit different. Needed to throw in an Abomination in that little mix, in my opinion, just to change it up a little bit here and there. Is there like a maybe like another version of Yellow Jacket? That would have been great.
I mean, shit, throw Wasp in there. I mean, she would have. I think she would have fit in with that team.
I think I like the idea of Wasp being in that group. As somebody to keep an eye on them.
But then everybody would be like, "Oh, you're going woke with too many women." Like.
Oh yeah, I know that, but those people are.
I know, but I think Wasp would have been a great person to add to that team.
Yeah.
As I said, even in the post-credit scene, if like you have Abomination and Wasp and someone else coming back from a mission, you know what I mean? Like they didn't even try to like make it an Avengers level team. Even if like that team, the Thunderbolts team was like the bare bones of an event. Like anyway.
More comic accurate, but make sense. One, I mean, I'm not 100%. I'm not aware. I know the Thunderbolts itself has been an abundance of different anti-heroes, fuck ups, and villains straight up villains in that contingent. So it would have been nice to have like a bit more variety. But the problem with the MCU that they've killed a lot of their bad guys. I mean, imagine if Mickey Rourke was still alive to play Whiplash. That would have been great.
Wouldn't that be so? Just I know I'm tangenting here a little bit, but wouldn't it have been amazing? Like, remember how Norman Osborn had like the Iron Patriot outfit in the comic books? Wouldn't it have been amazing if like if Whiplash was still alive, all of a sudden he shows up in like the Iron Patriot outfit, Iron Man suit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, that would have been amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he was still alive, I'm like, there's so many things you could have done with this, and just like all they did was made it like, three super soldiers, an assassin, and a mentally unstable Superman is what we have.
I reckon we get more characters in the team who weren't visible in post credits.
No, I don't think so. I think that was the team. Like, they made it seem like that was still the team 14 months later. And as I said, that's the point where you could have had like all of these different, like, it could have been an Avengers team that was already formed, and like we already know Wasp, we already know Abomination, we already know, like whatever. Like, they could have done it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, unless you can remind me who's not been killed off yet, but I'm not 100% sure. Who would have been good if they somehow managed to keep her alive, and Agatha Harkness. If they kept her alive, she would have been a good.
Oh my god! Speaking of Back from the Dead, Funeral Friend 45.
Tell us something we don't know. He's not only a disgrace to America, he's a disgrace to the human race. But join us for The World's Gone Insane to talk about that, because we're not.
We were just talking about that on Friday. Go watch that 3-hour extravaganza.
Yeah, and that was beautiful. All right. I think we're done here.
I agree.
Great. All right. So what's next? Oh, by the way, I apologize for not doing a review of Mobland last week. I've already done my recording of that, of episode 6 and 7, and so I'll have a review of that coming out soon enough. I've already done the recording, so it will come out soon. But yeah, I've done that, and obviously we've got Dark Side of the Ring coming up, as well as Andor. So keep an eye out for us here at NERDTUBE. We are the greatest social media channel you never heard of. We have birds and dogs and cats and everything else to show you. So keep an eye out on all of that.